Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Build Guide, where today we're going to be looking at the HOONICORN V2. This one is kind of an interesting one, and there's not really a lot to talk about, but there is an interesting aspect that I think that most people should know. Whether if you have a drifting build, or you have a racing build, or even if you wanted to have a rally build. I think this is an important aspect to look at. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So when it comes to the HOONICORN V2, if we just go ahead and look at the statistics, really the only thing that we could really change significantly is going from all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive. Now, I would highly recommend still all-wheel drive, and I prefer all-wheel drive when it comes to just any case in any type of vehicle. If it's a real-life application, I'll consider all-wheel drive all day. Now, there are some limitations, and we can talk about those here as well, but when it comes to HOONICORN V2, it gets kind of interesting. So the HOONICORN is known for drifting, right? Well, it's kind of interesting when you look at the statistics and you look at the performance and you kind of compare the two. With this particular build, I did kind of go with a drifting / racing build. So I just kind of went with these drifting components, but kept in mind too that this could be a racing build potentially. So obviously the horsepower and the torque are the same, they're not going to change. Weight, it's about 100 pounds difference, it's not too much. It's not really a surprise, but when it comes to the all-wheel drive, the acceleration is going to be higher. Typically, when it comes to Forza Horizon 5, a lot of the times the top speed will be greater with a rear-wheel drive, but for some odd reason, the all-wheel drive works better with the HOONICORN in terms of the top speed. So, really, what does it boil down to? It boils down to you being able to control the vehicle. Now, a lot of drifting vehicles are rear-wheel drive in the game, and all-wheel drive drifting cars can work. It's just how you drift them. So I kind of noticed, which was kind of fascinating, that when I tried out the rear-wheel drive, it's definitely a nicer transition. I think that it's easier to drift with the rear-wheel drive. The problem with the HOONICORN is that it's so much torque and horsepower, it's very hard to control. So you definitely have to go into a lower gear. But when it comes to all-wheel drive, you have to use the e-brake a lot more. So it kind of definitely does get interesting. I want to justify that, yes, even though that the statistics show the all-wheel drive is better and an overall application, you could easily, if you had another one, easily have a rear-wheel drive build and learn how to use it. Considering that a lot of the drifting vehicles in Forza Horizon 5 are rear-wheel drive, they're much easier to drift. Now, controllability is a little bit trickier when it comes to the rear-wheel drive build, but it's fascinating. What's my overall recommendation? Try both. If you have one, make two builds for it. Figure out which one you like the best. I would personally just keep it more stock, but it's totally up to you. It's kind of interesting when you look at all the different vehicles in the game and kind of comparing and contrasting and then figuring out it's a game. Just have fun. Without further ado, this was another episode of the Build Guide where we looked at the difference between all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive when it comes to the HOONICORN V2. Again, as I said in my most viewed video at the time, get the HOONICORN V2 whenever you can. Auction house, I wouldn't pay over $3 million for it. But if you could get it at a decent price in the auction house and you could get it in the event week, highly recommend it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's kind of been a little bit dead on my channel lately, but I will justify that at some point. At some point I'm going to make an update video. But I appreciate all the support, and thank you so much, and have a great day.